The exercise files for today's course are located in the video description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hello everyone, I am Trish Connor-Cato. Welcome to Tableau video training course. Tableau is a visual analytics platform that makes it easier for people to explore and manage data and faster to discover and share insights that can change businesses and the world. It helps people and organizations be more data-driven. Tableau supports data prep, analysis, governance, collaboration, and more. As a continuation of the Tableau Introduction video training course, this advanced course is designed to boost the students' competence when it comes to creating visualizations and creating dashboards. The course goes into considerable detail on these two subjects and explores, among other areas, how to create a range of different charts, maps, user-defined fields, as well as a host of advanced features and abilities. We'll start by connecting to a variety of data sources. This will leave you with some great workbooks to practice on and develop on your own after this course. You'll learn how to use dashboards to get results, as well as some more advanced dashboard features that will make it easier for users to understand and manipulate them. In Module 12, we'll finally build a dashboard, and we're going to be using dashboards to get results. So the first lesson is about guided analytics with Tableau. I'll show you what all of that means, and we've already done some of it when we were preparing for our dashboard. You'll learn how to share your results in a meeting. We're going to be doing notes and annotations on the dashboard and using external data to enrich our dashboard. And we're going to do a really cool thing on dashboards concerning dates. So guided analytics. What are guided analytics? Well, it means several things. One thing that it does is it enables easier dashboard navigation by increasing accessibility and clarity. It helps increase usability of the content you've created and helps the audience glean valuable insights faster. Most importantly, it helps the audience transition to using visual analytics. A lot of people are still doing their analysis in like Excel. No visual analytics is in their life, so this will be helpful to that audience. So what do you do for guided analytics? Well, we've done some of this. You customize filter titles for clarity. You encourage action with captions. You track filter selections with dynamic titles, which you'll learn how to do in this module. You'll drill down with filter actions. You can pack your tooltips with more details. You know, when you have a visualization and you hover over it and you see the tooltip, it automatically includes the fields that you're using in the view, but you can add to them. And then you can filter by selection, which is really cool, and it allows greater control. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with guided analytics. And we've already done some of those steps. So we've already customized our filter titles for clarity. We will put descriptive captions on some of our visualizations or some of our dashboard pages when we get there. And then the other thing that's suggested is to track filter selections with dynamic titles. So we're going to set that up now, and then we're going to use it on a dashboard with a companion sheet. And so what it means is that it would be nice when you filter, if it says at the top of your screen what it's filtered for, or if it's not filtered at all. That's what we're going to set up now. And we're going to do that by creating a new sheet. And that sheet is just going to contain one thing, what we're going to use as the title that updates dynamically. So let's name this sheet Category Title. And depending on what kind of dynamic title you'll need, you may have several sheets with different dimensions and then title that you can use on dashboards. So this is a title specifically for visualizations where you can filter by category. And it's a weird setup, but we're going to grab the category field and drag it to detail on the marks card. And then we're going to change the mark shape to polygon. So you just have that blank box sitting underneath the title. So now we're going to double click the title placeholder to open it up. And you're going to select and delete sheet name placeholder from in there. We're going to go over to Insert on the toolbar. And at the bottom, we're going to select Category, so it puts it in as a placeholder. Now, press your Home key to get in front of that, and press Enter, and then up arrow to go up to the empty line. And on this empty line, you're going to type Select a Category. And then at the end of the category's placeholder, on the second line, you're going to do a space at the end of it, and you're going to type the word selected. And let's select all of that stuff and change the color to orange, and also make it bold. And we're ready to click OK here. Now, the second thing we're going to do is grab the category dimension and drag it to the filter shelf. And we're going to have all of them are selected, which is what we want, and we're going to click OK. So notice it immediately updates. It says select a category, and once we added the filter, it says furniture, office supplies, technology selected. Pretty cool. It's dynamic. But it's going to get better because we're going to use this as a companion to another sheet. So we're going to create a dashboard in order to do this. So now we are going to go ahead and create our dashboard. So we're going to use the second button. We've been using the first one to create a new sheet. We're going to use our second button. And the first thing I want you to notice here is this white area is not really filling up the gray area. So we want it to fill it up as much as possible. On the left side, you have a dashboard tab. It's set to default. You can also create a dashboard for mobile view. And then you have the size. And I'm going to change the size. Now, what I change mine to might be different than what you change yours to because of what type of monitor you have and its resolution. So I'm going to change my width to 1400, and I'm going to change my height to 900. And that fills up most of that gray space for me. So now it says I have a custom size of 14 by 900. And if I click anywhere, it will collapse that. And then you have your list of sheets in the order they are in your workbook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this slide bar down so I can see the last sheet. And if I hover over that sheet, in its right corner, it shows a little box with a diagonal arrow. If I click on that box, it's going to take me to that sheet. We don't want to do that. It also shows a little thumbnail of what's on the sheet, which in this case is not very much. We're going to click and hold on that sheet, and we're going to drag it and drop it where it says drop sheets here. And then we're going to go to the toolbar and we're going to change it from standard to fit with. Now we're going to locate the sheet we want to use with this by scrolling all the way up to the top and hover over sales by category and subcategory. We're going to grab it, and notice as we drag it into the view, if I stop here, it's going to place it on the left. If I go here, it's going to place it at the top and overwrite our title. It'll place it on the right if I go here. And if I point toward the bottom, that's where it'll place it. And that's where we're going to drop it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put our mouse right above its title, and it changes to a double arrow. We're going to click and hold and drag up until you're covering that polygon shape that's underneath the title there. The other thing we can do is we can get rid of the visualization title. So I'm going to right click on sales by category and subcategory and choose hide title. So how are we going to make this filtering happen? So select your title, select a category, all selected. And if you look to the right of it, you have an X, which will remove it from the dashboard. You have that go to sheet icon. And then you have a funnel that is set to use as a filter. You also have a more options drop down arrow. We want that funnel set the way it is. And then we're going to select our bar chart, and it has the same icons. And what you want to do on that is you don't want to use this as a filter. So you're going to hover over the funnel that says use as filter. You're going to click it. And now if you hover over it, it says don't use as filter. And you can click away from all of that. So this is how it works. Dynamic titles updating. All right. So this is a bar chart that's showing the category and the subcategory. The filter is select a category, right? So if we select any of the bars within a category, you'll see that it now says furniture is selected. If we select any bar in office supplies selected. And if we do one in technology, it updates. And if we click away, then it's all selected again. So this leads me to believe that maybe we should name this select a subcategory bar or click on a subcategory bar. And so we can easily get back to that sheet by scrolling down here and using that go to sheet icon. That's one way of doing it. And then all we're going to do is edit the title by double clicking it. And I'm going to choose click any subcategory bar and apply and click OK. And then when I go back to my dashboard, it says that there. So it's more specific information instead of click a category. So, and then I notice it should say all selected. Well, it does say all selected. If I click on that furniture selected, so that'll be fine, right? Maybe we need to modify it and make it a little bit better. So once you have a bar selected, again, you can click on that bar again, or you can click in a white area to deselect everything. And this time we're going to go to the sheet from the title. So I'm going to use that to go back to that sheet. And I'm going to modify the title again. So category selected. I'm going to put the word the in front of the category placeholder. And then after it, I'm going to type the word category is selected. So we're telling them to click on a subcategory and then the category would be selected. And I'm going to put a period at the end of that one. And click OK. Go back to the dashboard. So now it says the all category is selected, and that's fine. When they click on the bookcase, the furniture category is selected, so on and so forth. So that's how you can track your filter selections with dynamic titles. And I think we're going to add something else to this dashboard. Let's see what would be a good companion here. In the meantime, go ahead and save your file. And by the way, you can select more than one bar by using your control key. So I'm going to click on a bar in the furniture category, click on another one in office supplies, and another one in technology so you can see how it updates. And I'm going to just click in a blank area to deselect everything. Another thing I'll point out to you is in your sheet list, any sheet that you have on your dashboard will have that little blue check mark next to it. And so we're going to add another sheet to this dashboard. And we have one right above the one that we have on there. It's a table, total sales by category. And so I'm going to click and hold on that one, and I want it on the right side. So when it's shaded on the right side, I'm going to let it go. And of course, that doesn't take up a lot of space. I'm going to go ahead and change it to fit the width. And I want to put a couple of things underneath it to fill in that blank space, right? And so one of the things that we can do, if we look on the left side on the dashboard tab at the bottom, we have objects, right? And we're going to select text and drag it on to the bottom right side. So we get our edit text dialog box. So I type the table above shows the total sales by category. It will also filter based on your bar selections. And I'm going to do Control A to select all of that text. I'm going to make it bold. I'm going to make it 12 point, and we might make it even bigger. And I'm going to give it an orange color. And click OK. That's pretty good sizing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just leave that one right there for now, and we're going to add something else. Before we add the image, let's do a few other things. We don't need the title, the sheet title, for the table on the right, total sales by category. So I'm going to right click on that and choose hide title. Let's double click our dashboard sheet tab, and we're going to name it sales by category and subcategory. And so notice we already have a sheet with that name. So I'm going to click OK on that message. And at the end of the name, I'm going to do a dash, and then I'm going to type the word dashboard. Then we're going to go to the dashboard menu and choose show title. So we have this at the top, and then we can edit the title. Notice it's saying sheet name in there. Well, we'll just leave it like that. So we can't have two sheets with the same name like in most programs. So now that we've done that, we're going to do some sizing here before we add our image. So I'm going to put my mouse in the middle between the bar chart and the table, and I'm going to click and hold and drag it to the right about that much. So you can clearly see more bar than anything. That's the star of the dashboard, the bar chart. And it got rid of having all of that extra space in the table. And then we'll resize the right side after we get our image in. Now, before you are going to be able to get the image in, you need to know what directory you need to save it in. So I'm going to just show you this on my screen. You don't have to do this yet. There is a file in the video description called learnit.png. And you're going to want to go there and grab that file and cut it. It has to be in a specific directory. And I'm going to tell you the directory that it has to be in now. I'm going to show it to you. So it needs to be in my Tableau repository. And then there's a folder in your repository called Shapes. And within that folder, you need to create another folder and name it My Shapes if you don't already have one. And then that My Shapes folder is where you want to put that Learn It logo. So My Tableau repository, Shapes, My Shape. Go ahead and pause the video until you have it there. And now we're ready to add the image. So under Objects on your dashboard pane, I'm going to click and hold on Image, and I want to drag it over so it's on the lower right underneath the text box. And I'm going to let it go. So now you can insert an image file, which is what we're going to do. And you're going to click on the Choose button, and it should take you directly to your My Shapes directory. And I'm going to just double click the Learn It logo. And then I'm going to click Center Image under Options. And for alt text, I'm going to say Learn It logo. And I'm going to do OK. So now we have the little logo there and we can resize things. I'm going to put my mouse between the table and the text box, and I'm going to drag upwards. So I'm kind of getting rid of that blank space. And then I'm going to put my mouse between the text box and the logo and drag upward a bit as well. So there you have it. You have your dashboard. You have your dynamic titles. You have your sales by category and subcategory dashboard title up there. And the thing is we can also connect the table so that it's filtered as well when we make a selection. So go ahead and select your table. I selected office supplies in a table, but it doesn't matter. And on the right side of it, you want to click that filter button so you're not using it as a filter. And then in my bar chart, anything I click, not only does the title update, well, at this point, subtitle, not only does that update, but the table will update as well. So all the focus right now is on office supplies. And that's why it says here, it will also filter based on your bar selections. So we made that happen. All right. Now I'm going to just click away so I get my full scheme of everything back and save your file. So we're going to create another dashboard, but before we do so, we want to copy our pie chart. So I'm on the pie chart sheet. I'm going to hold down my Control key and click on the Sheet tab, and drag it to the right of itself to make a copy. So on the copy, the first thing we're going to do is edit the title. We can leave the word sales there. Just put the word average in front of it. And then on the marks card, we're going to change the sum of sales for the angle and for the size, both of those to averages. So I'm going to right click on the angle one, hover over measure and choose average, and do the same for the size one. So instead of recreating the wheel. So the dashboard that we're going to create is going to have 2 pie charts, a histogram, and a table on it. Let's go to our sheet that says average and total sales by market segment. And because the histogram has quantity on it, we're going to grab the quantity field and drag it to text on the marks card. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click on it and we're going to drag it into our table. So you'll see that dashed line. And it changes the whole thing. Well, we do want it in a table, so we're going to fix that. So just go to your show me and choose text table. And so in our text table, we have average sales, sales, and quantity. So we just need to update the title here. And instead of sheet name, I'm going to put average, I'm going to do a dash, average, total, and quantity of sales. And actually, instead of a dash, I'm going to put a comma between average and total. And click OK. So we have our 2 pie charts. We have the market segment histogram, and we have this average, total, and now quantity of sales by market segment. And we're going to put those on a new dashboard. So I'm going to do my new dashboard button. So go ahead and customize the size of your dashboard. I'm using the same size I used on the previous one. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the market segment histogram and drag it into the view. And then we're going to grab our first pie chart and we're going to drag that on the bottom of the view. The second pie chart is going to go to the right of the first one on the bottom half of the view. And then we're going to grab the one that says average and total sales by market segment table. And we're going to drag that one. I'm actually going to put it in the middle on the bottom between the 2 pie charts. And then what I want to do is I can decrease the size. So the market segment histogram, I'm going to put my mouse, I'm going to select that heading. I'm going to put my mouse there and drag it down so it takes up more of the view. Now I went and changed, so and you're going to need to do this because your titles on sales on the 2 charts are orange and too big, and we want consistency here. So, and I didn't finish modifying mine, so mine are still bold and I don't want them bold. So I'm going to go back to that sheet using the go to sheet for the sales by market segment pie chart. I'm going to go to that sheet, double click the title. Now in your case, if it's still orange and 18 point, you're going to do Control A to select everything, make it 11 point, get rid of the bold, and make it black. And OK. And do the same thing, since you're already out here, do the same thing on the second pie chart. We're going to select everything. We don't want it orange. We want it 11 point, not bold, and the color black. And now let's go back to our dashboard, our second dashboard. And we can see that the titles match. Now, on our previous dashboard, we took away a lot of the titles on our visualizations. But in this case, we're going to leave them there because they're very descriptive as to what the user would be seeing. For our table, we're going to select the table and we're going to go to the toolbar and tell it to fit the width. So it looks a little bit better in there. And we want to format the overall sales and the average sales cards. So I'm going to click on overall sales, do the drop down arrow, format, and I'm going to give it that light orange shading. And I'm going to have you do the same for the average sales one. And we should probably color the market segment legend as well. Let's see if it'll let me format that. Yeah. So that one's selected. I can do that one as well, just for consistency. Now we want to show the dashboard title. So we're going to go to Dashboard, Show Title. Double click the title, get rid of that sheet name placeholder, and we're going to type market segment information and click OK. And we'll name the dashboard sheet market segment. All right, 2 dashboards, just like that. I'm going to go ahead and close this Format Legends panel and save. So another part of guided analytics is packing your tooltips with details. So I am on the sum and profit by year line chart, dual line chart. This is going to end up on a dashboard with our what if line chart. And so we're going to make some modifications to it first. So I want the colors to align a little bit better between the 2 charts. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the measure names legend and edit the colors. And we want to make profit orange and sales a darker green, because that's what's on our what if chart. And then over in your marks card, you're going to select sum of sales, and we're going to get rid of those mark labels. So I'm going to uncheck that. Doesn't make sense to have them on just one. And we're going to go to size for the sum of sales. And I'm going to grab that bar and drag it to the right, and you'll see 2 tick marks. I want it right in between those 2 tick marks. And then in the marks card, I'm going to click on sum profit and make the size the same as we did for sales. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to, just to be consistent, we're going to go to the measure names legend and format it, and we're going to give it that light, really pale orange shading like we've been doing so far. So now if you hover over any line on any mark, you'll see that everything that's in the view is automatically included in the tooltip. So we have the order date, we have the sales, and if I hover over profit, we have the order date and we have the profit, because those are the 3 fields that are in the view. Well, we want to add more to the tooltip. So in your marks card, we're on the sum of profit mark, and we're going to go to tooltip. And so you see it has the plain text, the year of order date, and then it has the field, year, order date, and it has profit and sum of profit. So I'm going to click at the end of sum of profit and press enter. And I'm going to say, just regular text, since, and I don't want it bold, so I'll get rid of that. I'm going to say, since 2020, profit is correlating with sales most of the time. Something like that. And then click OK. So now when I hover over a mark on profit, I'm seeing more information. Let's go ahead and save. And I'm going to get rid of that format pane on the left. We're going to modify its tooltip. So I'm going to click at the end of sum of sales and press enter. And I'm going to type in, not bold, I'm going to type for more detail, C and a colon, a couple of spaces. Then I'm going to use the insert drop down at the top, hover over sheets, and you're going to go to the sheet that is sales and profit by subcategory and click it. And in this case, it doesn't really matter whether we make it bold, but I like consistency. So I'm going to make that part of it bold. And we're going to do OK. So now when we hover over a sales mark, it says for more, it gives you the year, the sales, and for more details, see, and it gives you a little thumbnail of that page, that sheet page that we directed it to. So that's what it means by adding more detail to your tooltips. You're not limited to what's on them. And so since we're here, I'm going to go back to sheet sorter view. It's just easier sometimes to find sheets in that view. And we're going to go to what if sales. And let's put it up to like 6 points or 6%. And by the way, since we're here, let's do the drop down on that slider. And we're going to format it, and we're going to give it the pale orange shading. And it doesn't seem to do anything. Interesting. Let's try to measure names one. Format legends. Very interesting. I'm going to try it again because maybe I didn't click on it properly. So format parameters. Nope, the shading is showing there. It's just not showing up in the parameter. That's fine. I'm not going to worry about that right now. So I'm going to make this go like maybe to 8. I definitely want to separate the lines. So if we hover over to what if, that's what it's going to say, right? Sales if. And then I want to hover over one of the sales lines, right? And it just gives the month, year of order date, and the sales. So for this one, for the tooltip, so the measure names are grouped together. So we're going to have whatever we put in the tooltip is going to be for both. So we're going to go to the tooltip. Notice it says measure values, right? And we're going to click at the end of that, press enter, take the bold off. And we're going to type C, and then we're going to just do a colon, 2 spaces. We're going to go to our insert menu, hover over sheets. And under sheets, we're going to select our other line chart that we were just working on, which is called sum and profit by year. and we're going to click OK. And now if you hover over either any of the marks, you'll see that it says it has that there as well. Little thumbnail of that. Okay, save your file. So we have one other thing to cover that's under guided analytics. And let's go to any bar chart. So I'm going to count of products. And you'll notice and we've been doing this throughout, but if I click on for number of products, if I click on consumer bar, right, it filters everything else out other than consumer. And that's called filter by selection. We've been doing it the whole time, right? So that's a filter by selection action. When you click on one thing, it could be a pie chart, it could be a map, it could be anything really. It filters out all the other data. And to get all the other data back, you can just click outside of the visualization. So let's say you have your 2 dashboards built and management wants to see where you are right now. So you're going to do a presentation for them. But before doing so, you want to give it a little bit more formatting. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the dashboard menu and we're going to choose format. And on the pane on the left where it says dashboard shading, let's do the drop down and select that pale orange color. So now all the edges around everything has that pale orange color, right? The actual background of the dashboard itself. I'm going to have you do a similar thing on your second dashboard on your own. So we're going to just go to the second dashboard, format pane remains open, and go ahead and do your shading. So it should look like this. It's decreasing a little bit of the white space around the edges. Go ahead and close the format dashboard pane. And another thing that you can do is I'm going to select my histogram on the dashboard. And I can actually right click in a blank area of it and go to format. So on the format font pane underneath, I'm going to go to the paint bucket. And you see I can give the worksheet itself a shading color. So don't do this. Just watch my screen. I'm going to do this green color. And you're not seeing it because the worksheet is actually on the dashboard, right? So I'm going to go back to none on that. And so I'm going to try something else. I'm going to say, well, can I shade the pane? And let's see what happens there. And so now it's blending too much into the background color of the worksheet. So what I could do here is I could go to more colors and I can mix a different pale orange color, a little bit deeper, and click OK. So now I have a little bit of contrast and that color now shows up here. So since this is open, go ahead and use that same color for the pane on both of your pie charts. And so on mine, I used it on both of the pie charts as well as the table, but now I can't really see the values in the table. So for the table, I'm still on shading here. I'm going to go to the letter A so I get my font choices. And you see the pane has that orange color, right? I'm going to make it bold. Actually going to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go to 10 point there. And I probably should make the font color black now. So it shows really well in the table. So now go back to your first dashboard and you want to shade this bar chart and the table. The text box and the image are both taking on the background dashboard color. So you want to do the same thing we did on the next dashboard with these two visualizations. And the end result will look something like this. Now, these are examples. It depends on what color scheme you need to use and how much you want to do. But I do like having color on my dashboards. Go ahead and save your file, and then we'll mimic what we're going to do to present to the managers these two dashboards. So there are a few other fixes that can be done on here, but you know the steps to take to do the fixes. I'm going to go ahead and close the format shading. And this is something that you've seen before, but since we were working only when we were working with the sheets, not in a dashboard view. So if we wanted to show our managers these two dashboards, we could use presentation mode, which we used in sheet view. So I'm going to go ahead and click it on the toolbar. And so this dashboard comes up, right? And the managers can look at it and give their thoughts on it. And then using my film strip at the bottom, I can just show the other one. And of course, this would be hooked up to a flat screen or a projector screen in a conference room somewhere. So they can give their feedback on your dashboards. And again, to get out of presentation mode, you can press Escape on your keyboard. So when we did our first pie chart, that's when you learned how to put a caption on it. And the caption doesn't come over to the dashboard with it. We actually made a copy of that sheet, so both of the pie charts have a caption on them. On your dashboard panel on the left, hover over the first pie chart and then click the Go to Sheet button. And you could see the caption at the bottom didn't come over to the dashboard. So I went back to Sheet tabs here, but I'm going to go back. I'm going to just go to the end and go back to my market segment dashboard. And so what we can do here, it kind of have to play this out a little bit. If I go to the worksheet menu, I would have to show, and this actually to make sure that your sales by market segment chart is selected. And when you go to the worksheet menu here from within your dashboard, you can click on Show Caption, and then the caption will come in. Now, I want to show you something because this was frustrating to me until I learned better, right? If I don't have, let me just not have anything selected, and I go to worksheet, everything is dimmed out, so you won't be able to get to show caption. You have to be able to have something selected. We don't need it on the second pie chart. But we have that caption, would really like to increase home office sales. Any ideas? So we were able to bring that over. So we've added annotations on one of our maps before, but we're going to do it here on that first pie chart. I'm going to click on the home office segment and right click and choose annotate, and I'm annotating the mark, right? So it has the market segment and the sum of sales in there. And what I want to do is add a line that says, let's get these values up by the end of 2023, something like that, and click OK. So now you see the annotation like a pop out, just like we did it on a map, right? Shows up as a pop out. And I'm going to kind of move it over a little bit and size it down a bit. And actually, since the values already show in the tooltip, I'm going to edit the annotation. And I'm going to remove everything except what we typed in. Just so it doesn't take up so much space. And I centered that. And I'm going to click OK. So now I can just increase the width of it a bit. Move it over a bit. So when I click away from it, it's clear that it's pointing to that slice of the pie. And it just has that, let's get these values up by the end of 2023 annotation. And this section is called Notes and Annotations. So we did the annotation here on a dashboard. Let's go back to our first dashboard. And this text box gives us the ability to put in notes. And you can have multiple text boxes on a dashboard. Go ahead and save your file. So our next topic is using external data to enrich your dashboard. Let's go ahead and bring up a new dashboard window and go ahead and get your size the way it needs to be. And don't worry, I didn't forget that I said that we're going to use a dashboard for our two different dual line charts. But for right now, I'm going in order of the outline. So we're at using external data. And then we have one more topic in this module. In the next module is when we'll use those line charts. So for this one, using external data, what we're going to do is we're going to use the sales by state map, drag it onto the view. And the first thing I'm going to do is select the annotation for Pennsylvania, and I'm going to just drag it down just a little bit so we can see New York. And I'm going to right click on New York and go to annotate the mark. And we're just going to put high value in front of state province like we did on the other annotations on this map. And click OK. And then I'm going to click on New York again so that everything else comes back into the view fully. Now I'm looking at this and I see one other circle that's comparable in size to Texas. So annotate Washington the same way we have the other annotations. Annotate Washington State on your own. Now I'm going to decrease the width of the map a little bit because notice on the right it's cutting off our cards. So we don't want that to happen. And on the map, I'm going to just zoom out a little bit so that everything that is important to us is still visible. I can actually widen this just a little bit more. I want to make sure that right panel is wide enough to show everything. So since this is where we did a data layer of the 2018 population, that was the latest one that it had in there for us, we are going to use external data to enrich this dashboard. And so what we're going to do is we are going to grab the web page object on the left. And I'm going to drag it, try to get it on the bottom. Yeah, we're going to put it on the bottom for right now. We'll move it when we're done. And so I'm going to type in a URL here. It's starting with the HTTPS://, and it's World Population Review all together .com/states. and go ahead and click OK. So this is cool. On my end, it's still loading some information, but I can scroll down. It actually gives you a window where you're actually seeing the web page on here. Now, because we really want our map to be the focal point of this, we are going to remove that web page object. So on its right, go ahead and remove from dashboard. And we're going to get a link on here to the web page in a different way. So we're going to go up to the dashboard menu and choose Actions. And this is just like, so you know, it generates actions on its own depending on what you do. And so we already did an action, and we went to the Learn It website. We already did a web action. We're going to add another one. We're going to click on Add Action, go to URL, and we're going to name this Population Information. And the source sheet is Dashboard 3. And we are going to leave it on menu. You saw the choices. You know you don't want hover. And we're going to choose to have it open in a new browser tab. So all we have to do is type worldpopulationreview.com/states. worldpopulationreview.com/states. And we're going to click OK. And OK. So in here, the only place you can't right click and see it on the menu is on an annotation. So I can right click in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico if I want to. And you'll see that we have Learn It on the menu as well as Population Information. And you can go there to make sure that the link is correct. So it opens in a browser tab. And you can go through the information, and at the bottom there's a table. So this is updated population information by state. Again, the data layer that we used on our map was from 2018. So we can just have this hyperlink here, or this URL on our menu, so that people can get the updated information. So you saw two ways of doing it. And we chose this way because we want the map to just be on that dashboard. You can go ahead and close the browser window. All right, let's name this dashboard Sales by State Map. And then we're going to get rid of the title from the sheet. So I'm going to just right click on the title and hide the title. And now we're going to go to the dashboard menu and choose Show Title. So we don't need a redundant title there. I'm going to actually double click the dashboard title. Like it's centered. Yeah, it's centered over the whole sheet. So that's good. And we can cancel. And now you're going to save again. And our last topic is dashboards and dates. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new sheet. So this is a similar but easier process from when we created the dynamic title for category. Right? What we're going to do here is we're going to create a title that shows today's date whenever today is at the top of the dashboard. So in order to do that, we're going to create a calculated field on this blank sheet. And we're going to name the field today. And we're going to type the function today and click OK. So now we're going to drag the today calculated field. And just another point here, I'm going to actually scroll up. If I want to search for a field, I have a search box at the top of my field list. So I can go in there and type TO, and it scrolls down until I can see the today field. So I'm going to grab that today field, and I'm going to drag it onto detail on the marks card. And then it says the year of today. So I'm going to right click on that pill, and I'm going to hover over more and select custom. And in the drop down, I'm going to select month, day, year and click OK. So now it's the month, day, and year of today. Now we're going to double click the title on that sheet to get in and edit it. We're going to get rid of the sheet name placeholder here. And we're going to go to the insert drop down, and at the bottom we're going to select MDY today. And we're going to click OK. So let's name this sheet Today Title. It's like we have a category title sheet, except title does not have two E's at the end of it. And go ahead and create a new dashboard sheet. Go ahead and adjust your size. And we're going to drag Today Title into the view. And we are going to go and fit it to the width of the view. And then whatever else we add to the dashboard in the next module, we'll size it so it covers the little box that's there for the detail. And it just has the date at the top. Go ahead and save your file. In Module 12, you learned about using dashboards to get results. We started with an explanation of guided analytics with Tableau. Guided analytics make it easier to navigate a dashboard. It increases accessibility and clarity, increases usability of the content you've created, and it helps the audience glean valuable insights faster, as well as helping them transition to using visual analytics. We created several different things that encapsulate guided analytics, including customizing filter titles for clarity, encouraging action with captions on worksheets, tracking filter selections with dynamic titles, drilling down with filter actions, packing tooltips with details, and having greater control with filter by selection. Then you learned that you can use presentation view in your dashboards as well as the worksheets. We definitely did some more annotations, and we used a text box to capture some notes. And then we connected to a website to give more up-to-date detail on population data for the United States. We ended by creating a title sheet that will automatically display today's date on a dashboard. In Module 13, we'll be putting the dash in dashboards. In Lesson 1, we'll be choosing our visualization. We've already kind of gone through that process, but I have another example for us to do that in this module. Then we're going to be using parameters in dashboards. You're going to learn how to profit from big data to rev your visualization, filtering your data for focus, and in the final lesson, we'll be creating choices in dashboards using conditional logic. So to get started with choosing your visualization, I've gone to the sales by month over time sheet, and we're going to make a copy of this sheet. So I always do it by dragging it while holding the control key. So I'm going to just drag it to the right of it. And on this one, we want to make some changes. So in the column shelf, we're going to right click on month of order date, hover over more, choose custom, and we're going to go to the drop down and we're going to select month/year and click OK. So this is our animated visualization, and now we've given it more detail. And if you notice on your column shelf, it says my order date, which is month/year order date. Now we're going to remove month of order date from the pages shelf because now we're using month/year, and we're going to copy month/year from columns to the pages shelf so that now its history will be correct, month/year instead of just by month. And for clarity, we're going to change the title on your history control over there. We're going to edit the title. We want it to be more specific. So or more clear, we're going to name it month/year order date and click OK. So now we're going to go back to the dashboard we created where we put the today title at the top. And we're looking for our sales by month over time 2 sheet. But before we drag it onto the view, let's right click on it and we can rename it from here. So we're going to call it sales by month/year over time and get rid of the 2 at the end. And now I'm going to drag it onto the view on the bottom half. And then I'm not going to try to move it. I'm going to resize it. So I have my mouse at the top, the double white arrow, and I'm going to just drag it up until the blue box from detail on the today title sheet is covered. So we'll always have today's date whenever it is at the top. And then we want to pair this with our what if sales. So let's drag that on and put it on the right side of the dashboard, because what if sales is also in the month/year format, which is why we made a copy and made this in the same format in terms of the date. So then, so that we can view more of the information, I'm going to take what if sales and drag it to the bottom underneath sales by month, year over time. So one is right above the other and we can see more of it. So this is definitely going to need some captioning or text boxes. What you want to do is use those things either to get people to start doing analysis, like how can we increase these sales by this category, or to give them instruction on how to use the dashboard sheet. So make sure that your sales by month, year, over time visualization is selected. And we're going to go to the worksheet menu and choose show caption. So we get a caption for that visualization. Double click the caption and we'll use the caption to describe what the visualization is showing. And after we're done with captioning, we'll use text boxes to give guidance on how to use the right panel. So for this one, we need to give a full explanation. So this is an animated viz that will show sales by month/year over time. You can use the controls on the upper right to play the viz and animate it. And we'll give more detail in a text box on the right pane. And we can go ahead and I think I want to select all of that text. And I want to make it orange. And I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to double click it again. I'm also going to make it bold so it pops out just a little bit more. Okay. And now you want to make sure what if sales is selected. We're going to go back to worksheet, show caption. Let's double click the caption for this one. The trends of sales and sales if for order date. All right, we can keep that part. But before it, I'm going to put this viz is showing the trends of sales and we're going to change sales if to projected sales by percent for the month/year of the order date. And then I can get rid of that MY at the end of that. And then color shows details about sales and projected sales. And you know, after that one in parentheses, I'm going to put sales if, because that's what's showing on the color legend on the right. And I'm going to select it and make it orange and bold. And OK. Now we're going to add a floating text box, and we're going to end up having it in the bottom of the right pane. It's going to explain the controls in the right pane. So we'll make it floating after we get it on there. So let's go ahead and grab the text object and drag it onto the lower right side of the visualization. You want to make it left aligned instead of its default of center. And you can pause the video and copy the text that's on my screen in the text box. I've made it bold and orange like we did in the captions as well. Once you have it in, we're going to go ahead and click OK on the text box. And then since it's selected at the bottom of the objects, we're going to click floating. We're going to grab our text box and drag it over into the right pane and drop it. So it's right underneath the controls. Now what you can do is save your file. And I formatted the parameter, the slider parameter, and gave it some shading. I'm going to go ahead and close that panel. Now we're going to add some big data to a dashboard. So let's bring up a new dashboard and go ahead and size it accordingly. And on this one, we're not really going to use a sheet here. So you saw an example of this before, but we didn't keep it. We decided to do a dashboard action instead. This time, we're going to use a web page for our dashboard. So you go ahead and grab your web page object and drag it on. And the URL here is https tradingeconomics.com/United-States/retail-sales. So this is sample superstore data. We have sales, we have customers. We want to know what's trending in the United States in terms of retail sales. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. And I went ahead and closed the ad that popped up. But you can see here it has a summary, calendar, forecasts, stats. You can download information from here. It's data from November 2022, but there is historical data going back to 1992. So if you're into retail sales, a lot of this could be useful big data information that could help you maybe head in a different direction or look at different ways to achieve newer goals, so on and so forth. So this is the sum total of this dashboard. It's filled with a web page. So let's add a dashboard title, which we can also do underneath the objects pane. And we'll call it, and this data is, I believe, from the Census Bureau. Well, there's actually different sources. This data up here is from U.S. Census Bureau. So we're going to go ahead and edit the title. And we'll say that this is Trading Economics Big Data, something like that. And I'm going to select the text, make it bold and make it orange, or whatever color you happen to be using, and go ahead and click OK. And I'm going to just name the dashboard tab Big Data. Now we're going to get into filtering your data for focus. And I'm on the Analyzing by Region and Customer sheet. We're going to create another sheet that shows the count of customers by region. So let's go ahead and grab a new sheet. And for this one, we're going to drag the region field to rows. And we're going to drag customer last, which is in our customer and market segment hierarchy now. We're going to drag that to text. And then we're going to right click on that pill. And we're going to hover over measure and choose count. We're going to right click that pill again. and go to Format. We want to format the numbers. So we're going to do the numbers drop down. We're going to choose Number Custom, get rid of the decimal places, and at the bottom, uncheck Include thousand separators. And we can close the Format panel. And now we want to drag Region to Color, so the numbers adopt the color for each region. Now let's go ahead and hide the field labels on that table for the rows. We don't need them there. And let's name this sheet. I'm using the # for number. Number of customers per region. And then we're going to edit the title to just say number of customers. And go ahead and make it bold and orange. And click OK. So now let's go ahead and create a new dashboard sheet. And let's drag our Analyzing by Region and Customer sheet onto the view. Now, we don't want our little table to take up any space in the view itself. So we're going to grab that number of customers by region, drag it onto the right side of the view temporarily, and then make it floating. And once it's floating, drag it into the right pane like we did the text boxes earlier, so that the actual visualization can show in its entirety in the view. Now, something else we're going to do here on the right side, let's go to our first choice parameter and select it, go to its drop-down arrow, and we're going to format parameters. And we want to give them that light orange shading. So both of those are done. So this way, we can go ahead and close Format Parameters. And what we want to do is we want to go to our number of customers and select it. And we're going to click on the funnel. And we're going to do the same thing for Analyzing by Region and Customer. So now if we click on any mark on our visualization, the table will filter. And we can click on the mark again to get everything else back. Now, this is the one where we have dynamic axes, sales and discount, because those are the choices. And we're going to put a text box over on the right pane to explain how to use the choices. We're still on floating, so go ahead and grab your text object, and you can drag it right over to the right pane, even though it's going to open up the edit text box. Make it left aligned, and I'm going to go ahead and do bold and orange before I start typing here. And so the text is going to be, use the first and second choice drop downs to change the y-axis and x-axis accordingly. And go ahead and click OK. So now we just have to size it correctly. I might have to move it over a little bit. Size it correctly so it fits in that pane. And then we're going to select our visualization. We're going to go to Worksheet, Show Caption. So it comes up with, when reading the tooltip, placeholder 1 represents the value of your first choice, and placeholder 2 is for your second choice. I think I might have put that somewhere in before. So make sure your caption says that, just to give. So when you hover over any of the marks, it shows placeholder 1 and placeholder 2. So we're explaining what they represent. I want to add on to that caption by saying your axes will update according to your choices. And okay. So we can go ahead and get rid of, hide the title for the visualization. And then let's show our dashboard title. And we're going to edit it to say, get rid of that sheet name placeholder. We're going to edit it to say, analyzing by region and customer. And of course, I'm going to make it bold and orange. Now, should have just named the sheet because it had that placeholder in there. But go ahead and name the dashboard tab the same thing. In Module 13, we started by creating a copy of our animated visualization, and we changed the date format to match our what if sales visualization, and we placed both of them on the same dashboard. We created captions for each visualization to explain the intent of the visualization, and then we added a text box in the right pane so that we can explain how to use the animation controls and the what if slider to change the percentage of projected sales. The what if viz used parameters. Then we moved on to profiting from big data, and we did that by adding an industry web page to a dashboard. We moved on to filtering your data for focus, and it was combined with creating choices in dashboards using conditional logic. So we started that one by creating another sheet that was a text table showing the number of customers per region, and we used that as a companion to our analyzing by region and customer viz. We actually put the text table in the right pane so that the visualization could fill the entire view. We also created text boxes to explain the controls in the right panel. And this one was using conditional logic because this is the one where we created dynamic axes, and they had parameters where whatever their first and second choices are will change the title of the axes. In this extensive course, we started by connecting to a variety of data sources, in particular text, Excel, and Access database data sources. You learned about the concept of guided analytics and what that can involve. And then we went into showing the captions, customizing filter titles for clarity, and you learned how to create dynamic titles. so that they change based on what's being chosen. You also learned how to share your results in a meeting by using presentation view. And we added some notes using text boxes and more annotations. We also created a dashboard with just one item on it. We used a web page so you could use external data. And that's where we put the world population review by states. And then we created a sheet where we could have today's date showing at the top, and we could use that on a dashboard as well, and we did. We started putting the dash into dashboards. So we put sales by month over time, our animated visualization, on the same dashboard with what if sales. We use captions and text boxes and to explain to the users what's going on the dashboard. And then we added the sales by state crosstab to the right pane on an existing dashboard. You learned how to profit from big data to rev your visualization. And that's where we use that trading economics website. We learned how to filter your data for focus and creating choices in dashboards using conditional logic. So we brought that first choice and second choice sheet onto a dashboard. You learned the difference between using tiled or floating on a dashboard. When you use tiled, it kind of maps the grid, the left side, the right side, the top, the bottom, the middle, that kind of thing. Floating, you can place it anywhere you need to place it.